Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Fall Jersey. Joe Archino back here. History will have been made today on February 26th, 2016, as Gianni Infantino has been named the new president of FIFA. And look, I mean, if you even if you're not a soccer fan, you couldn't escape the headlines about the corruption and everything that has been going on under Sepp Blatter with FIFA. One of the most corrupt organizations in the world. The problem is when you're one of the most corrupt organizations in the world and you're one of the most powerful organizations in the world, those two things are a major problem when they are tied together. And clearly, corruption has been on the side of FIFA for too long. But it seems like change has finally started to arrive, and the biggest kind of mark of that is, of course, with a new man at the leading the pack, and that is Gianni Infantino. He received 115 of 207 votes on the second ballot. So, one of the things that I think we all kind of want to know is the word trust. How is FIFA going to win back the trust of not just the people, but of the world? FIFA is a world governing body. They control soccer everywhere. So, by that notion, they are responsible and have a responsibility to everyone in the world. How are you going to regain the trust of the world? That's a feat that is not very easy to accomplish, but is achievable, and we will certainly see in the coming times if that is possible. But we kind of look at the way things have shaped, and in his manifesto, Gianni kind of said he would rebuild trust. The word there, trust, and that is the key word. I mean, it really is not just in sports, but in life, and certainly soccer or football, however you want to say it, has so many elements tied to not just the sport element of it, the competitive entertainment nature of it, but the life nature of it. FIFA has a very heavy role, as does the world's game, in shaping lives, shaping economies, shaping the outcome of politics in some places. It really has such a profound impact on all socioeconomic levels of the world, and that's why it's so important that you have someone at the helm here who you can put the word trust into. Now, FIFA's always going to still have the not going to get the benefit of the doubt, and I think reasonably so. It's going to take them a lot of time to regain real trust and real credibility in people's eyes, and that is not just going to come overnight. It's something they're going to have to work for every single day, and certainly you would have to think that Gianni is kind of one of the guys who certainly deserved this to get this prestigious honor, because he was on the committee to kind of reshape and reform some of the things that were just a major problem. I mean, it seemed like Sepp Blatter was always the man here, never really had a real opponent, basically was a dictator with FIFA. Now, kind of the new policies have been put in place. It is becoming more of a democracy, more of something where many people have a voice instead of one tyrant at the top of the helm whose corruption just really just extended to almost everyone there. Now Sepp Blatter, his hands are still somewhere near this, but I think removed enough at this point where you can look ahead to the future. And certainly the future is now where FIFA will come into it. We kind of look ahead a little bit, and right now there's a 90-day plan there for Gianni Infantino, and it's currently with 11 points. One of those big 11 points is the 2026 World Cup. Now, I think instantly something that needs to happen. It's a difficult thing to make happen, but I think something that needs to happen that will show trust is here, change is here, this isn't the old FIFA, is taking the bid away from Qatar for the 2022 World Cup. We all know the amount of corruption that was involved in getting the World Cup to Qatar, and it's not just because they got it unfairly, it's because there's no practical reason to have the World Cup in Qatar. Qatar doesn't have the infrastructure to support this at the moment. Qatar is using slave labor to build this infrastructure to play these games, and the games aren't even playable because it's one of the hottest places in the world. Like, you hear people joke all the time. It's like it's going to be like playing soccer on the sun. But that's not really a joke. I mean, that's literally what it's going to be like. There's people talking about during last around December, January, that the World Cup there might have to be played in around December or January because it's going to be too hot to play there in the summer. That notion alone tells you Qatar should not have the World Cup. There's no doubt in my mind that the number one way to instantly make a mark and establish credibility, establish trust, is to take the World Cup away from Qatar. That is something that's doable. There's still plenty of time to find alternate venues. Someone deserves the World Cup, and it is not Qatar. There's no doubt in my mind that that should be taken away, and just the way things, and that'll send a message by rewarding Qatar with a World Cup. And again, it is the ultimate prize to have the privilege to host a World Cup. You're enabling them to have the slave labor. You're enabling bad habits to happen and show there's not consequences for those bad habits. By taking it away, you instantly send the message corruption is not okay, slave labor is not okay, and we're not playing soccer on the sun. All of those things, I think, send a clear message, and will that happen? I do not know. I would definitely, though, I think any reasonable person at the helm of an organization has a responsibility to the public, and the public is always the ones whose interests need to be in mind. The public's interest was not best served when Qatar was awarded the World Cup. The players' best interest was not served. The people building those stadiums, who are practically slaves, are not. Their interest is not being served, and I think that is instantly something that could happen. But it seems like there is optimism for the first time in a long time with FIFA. I think really it is a new day, and certainly it's going to take time to get that word trust back in our favor, but it needs to be earned over time, and certainly it's not going to happen overnight, but over time that word needs to come into fruition. And I think you still have to be skeptical always. Always, I mean, FIFA does not deserve the benefit of the doubt in any situation until they've shown that without a reasonable doubt they have changed. And I think until that happens, any skeptic I won't have a problem with it. I'll probably be a skeptic as well, but I think the instant thing that would make me think right away, real change is here, this is a new day, is if Qatar, if they take the bid away from Qatar for the 2022 World Cup. We'll certainly see how the process goes for the 2026 World Cup, but I think the instant way to make an impact and say the new day has arrived, take the World Cup away from Qatar. They never should have had it in the first place. It was all corruption that stemmed from the man at the top, and if the person in charge of your organization is corrupt, everyone is corrupt. The person at the top of the ladder always needs to be doing things the right way because that leadership reflects off on everyone else. If you don't do the right thing, how are the people underneath you going to do the right thing? Sepp Blatter is basically a tyrant. He is a criminal. He should be in prison, and if the legal system works out the way that it should, hopefully that will happen. Even with his age, he has committed many crimes. There's a difference, there's white-collar crime, and that is certainly what fits the bill with him. But until we see what happens with FIFA, Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino, on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino, and I'll see everybody next time.